So there was a new Panorama programme out this week that some people are talking about, produced by the racist, misogynist institution, the BBC, showing again in News to No One that the Metropolitan Police are racist, misogynist and beat up disabled people. They hate Muslims and they let violent white men who beat up their wives back out into the street with no further action, and then act shocked when these kind of men murder their partners. And I think most people in London just grow up thinking that the police are racist. Probably, as I've said in previous videos, we live in a very multicultural society here in London, but according to their own figures, you're 4 times more likely to be stopped and searched by the Met Police if you're not white, when it's predominantly white men committing crime, and a lot of them, it seems, work in the police. Apparently one of the sergeants who was seen in the secret filming footage has been arrested due to an incident on the 2nd of October. He hasn't been named, but has since been bailed and suspended from duty, so I'm assuming he's still getting paid. See, what the programme really shows is there might be some genuinely good people that work for them, but it's run by the people that have stuck around, been promoted through the misogyny and the racism, and the reason why people don't speak out about it is because they don't want to lose their job or be retaliated against. And so you're left with a boys club that supports Tommy Robinson.
Well, that was saying yesterday about how when the time is right, he's going to blow himself up. And like, you know, we should hate all the British, and like, we're not coming here because we like the country, we're coming here because we don't come and take over the country. And I was like, mate, it's like we've got fucking Tommy Robinsons down the road, mate. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking...
Is it problematic, the amount of like minorities, like ethnic minorities in like London, like police?
Challenge you when you're on shift to look at the list and see how many are in custody. And I think there's your answer. That's a simple answer. Yeah. It's not about it's not about opinion, it's about facts. And the fact is, if you look at the list, the custody list, look how many Muslims in there. And that's the answer.
Which are the most griefy, do you reckon?
Muslims.
Really?
By far. Hate us. They fucking hate us. Proper hate us. It's not. It's a problem. A serious problem, I think.
As soon as Tommy Robinson, which is not even his real name, and he's hardly ever in this country, ironically, is mentioned on a programme like this, the astroturfing is activated in the comments. Because Tommy Robinson has this sort of cult-like following that believe it's immigrants that cause all our problems, and that we'd all be much better off if no one that wasn't white moved here. But we're still meant to believe they really care about protecting women and girls, while completely ignoring that he gets paid by pro-Israel lobbying groups who want to promote anti-Islam propaganda. And he's also a cokehead and violent, but they don't care about that either. A bit like the police who say they join the police for a kick-off.
Well, I'll say about 95% of people complain on arrest. 2.5% are mad. The other 2.5% are actually trying to get away, trying to fight you.
Yeah. Do you enjoy the scraps?
Yeah, big time. It's my Johnny job for me. Yeah, 100%. I'm Bermondsey lad, mate. Like 100%, mate. Legal fucking scraps any day of the week. Yeah, that's my Johnny job. Nick people and to get in scraps.
So, apart from the blatant racism and misinformation about the disproportionate amount of not white people being arrested, the incident that most of the comments miss is when we're told a 17-year-old autistic boy is being brought in from a hospital and they're using 10 officers to arrest him, showing zero de-escalation skills or compassion. And that's how mentally disabled people have been treated in the UK in institutions for years.
Guy arrived, walked into custody, he went to his cell. He was put on a constant watch with 2 police officers, and to be honest, I thought that was the end of the story.
Jordan's custody notes say he's autistic and has mental health needs. CCTV shows the teenager in his cell and officers standing outside. Then they push Jordan back from the cell door. After he throws a pillow at them, they restrain him.
Next thing I know, the panic alarm has been hit. Everyone's up on their feet, running down towards the cells. There's about 5 or 6 police officers.
At one point, there are 8 people involved in the restraint.
Sergeant McElvenny stood up on the bench looking over the whole situation, and he was like, "I'm the safety officer."
Jordan is then held on the ground with his legs or arms restrained for around 2 hours.
So what I saw in that video was the police started it by pushing that boy who was mentally disabled when they could have just shut the door. The guy with the big belly who says he's the safety officer says he's been in the force for 20 years. There's nothing safe about how he acts in that video. And not surprisingly, the guy is openly sexually harassing women he works with and frisking women in custody that he finds attractive. And he also decides to let a domestic abuser out on bail.
Apparently, if you haven't pierced, you can just give it a touch. The next time you get dissatisfied, give me a little spoon.
No, I'm seriously getting my face to work now.
He says he wants his nipple pierced and asks a female colleague who's told him she's had it done for advice. Then he goes even further and starts talking about masturbation.
Yeah, I was thinking, right, because my pain tolerance goes up massively if I'm probably at the same time. So I'm going to ask you. What do you reckon? Would you mind if
You might be like, nah, mate, see ya.
How's he done? Oh, yeah, imagine.
An internal investigation in 2022 found these messages on staff group chats.
She turns up, and the door opens.
I think it's her just still in general and probably the
The door almost like monstrous. Anyway, so got a lot of two pussy. That's the real one, and then the fat one. It was weird.
A woman's just been brought in, arrested for being drunk and disorderly. She's wearing a fancy dress police uniform. Sergeant McElvenney seems particularly interested in her.
Awesome. She's wearing a leather police outfit.
Stop. I paid money to go to clubs and see women dressed like this.
That's Sergeant McElvenney making the sound of a siren as he heads to where the woman is going to be searched.
He's going for it.
So we've seen the violence against disabled people, vulnerable people, women supported and promoted. Do you think they're going to be homophobic as well?
Because obviously I'm a minority. You see a lot of difference in the way that you get treated by people, especially linebackers.
Really?
Yeah.
But it made you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah. Quite a few sergeants have, I'll be honest. And colleagues have seen it as well, but
Nothing gets done.
I'm not really bothered either. Just do my job, go home. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, Ryan. That's it now. I'm passing sexual offence. Complaint again. No. Oh, I'm going to get accused of that. I'm going to do it then. This for a penny was a pound, Brian.
Rory's been told an officer's been disciplined for tucking in another officer's shirt. The team appear to be joking about it. PC Sharky's on his first pint.
Go down for a sexual assault, might as well go down for a rape. So you got about that? Well, you can had some whiskey. There's nothing. Oh, back there. That was a bit. I challenged myself. Boy, they're all kind of fucking trust here. Hey, how you going? You're the fucking new boy. I'm the fucking new boy.
Then one of the other officers starts talking about another incident. PC Sharky shuts it down.
The guy that pissed somebody I'm talking about that. I was going to shut the fuck up like that.
When you go out with someone new, especially on team that you don't know, you have to reset, you have to put the mask, or just speaking factual. And then when you get on with it, it comes off, and then the real you comes out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Someone new joins. Oh, man, God. You've got to figure them out, but you can't say.
Sir Mark Rowley, the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, didn't accept that problems in his force were institutional, but he promised change.
I understand her use of the term institutional. It's not a term I use myself. I'm absolutely determined that on my watch we are slowly reducing the risk that we have people in the organisation who don't have the integrity the public would expect.
So it's pretty obvious there's been no actual improvements within the organisation. They've all obviously been told or trained to be a lot more careful about what they say out loud. We're going to get onto some of the comments that make some of this behaviour seem justified because of the job. Whatever their job, this is one human being talking about another.
Do you ever see any issues with Ukrainians?
No.
Exactly. So I don't mind them because they're coming over here to work and let's get away with it. Now, people coming from all Middle Eastern, they're just scum. God, we so lose our job right now.
Who do you reckon the worst one is then? Like, worst to deal with, like, people coming over?
Oh. So I've had quite a lot of Arabs. I've had quite a lot of North America, like the Algerians. They're scum.
We've had so many of them in custody.
I can't stand them.
They always feign injury and...
Oh, I can't. Yeah. The Somalis are scum. The Somalis are fucking ugly.
Ugly, mate.
Any foreign person's the worst to deal with.
Yeah.
3 more drinks in, he starts talking about Islam.
I've seen too many Islamics committing crimes. Their way of life is not the correct way of life.
No. I mean, you're on the front line, you see it every day.
You do find that the ones that are causing the most crime are Muslim. They cause the most crime.
The Home Office and police don't publish figures on general arrest rates by religious communities. Despite his obligation not to discriminate unlawfully or unfairly, PC Nielsen appears to have made up his mind.
Fucking either put the bullet through his head or deport him.
I hear you, man.
Because we're paying for it. He was an overstayer. That was. He was an overstayer.
So many though, isn't there?
Honestly, just... Yeah.
What? Where are you going there?
A revolver. Revolver would be so nice.
Straight to the head?
Oh, God. And the ones that rape women, you do the cock and let them bleed out.
Yeah, we just saw his boss letting out of custody a rapist who'd stamped a footprint on his pregnant girlfriend's belly, but he didn't seem to have a problem with that, and they were all making jokes about it in the pub. So people saying it's not racism, they're just reacting to a difficult job, they're wrong. And speaking of people's looks, what has that got to do with it? And has anyone looked at themselves in the mirror lately? There could be any number of reasons why someone's living on the street, but it's not exactly easy to keep yourself clean, because evidently the police pick on the most vulnerable people and let the real criminals, the people with actual power, just get on with it, because that's what this is all paying for. And it's really funny to see the guy who was the investigative journalist being called a snitch in the comment. A snitch is someone who works with the police, not against them. So who's he a snitch to? Tommy Robinson. We've just seen footage of these police supporting Tommy Robinson. They're allies. How many times has Tommy Robinson been released on bail after committing a violent offence due to lack of evidence? Some of these people think Tommy Robinson's a better journalist than the BBC. He did a great documentary. Was it sponsored by a GoFundMe, or was he paid by a lobbying group to make it? And don't tell me he was exposing corruption about the grooming gangs because Keir Starmer's Prime Minister, blah blah blah. Yet Keir Starmer is financially supported by the same people Tommy Robinson is. That's institutions that want the Israel regime to carry on. There are so many comments on this video. This isn't even the official video. This is a uncopyrighted upload by a small channel. They don't seem to be able to tell the difference, but they're pushing talking points and they're pushing narratives, and this is known as astroturfing. And this is why I like getting into the comment section and dissecting it. This account has made loads of comments, one of them being about free speech. The same people that support or even are auditing channels, claiming auditors on YouTube have already covered what this documentary has achieved and done a better job. But in another comment, they want to make privately recorded conversations illegal. How does that make sense? What about the millions of Brits needing housing who have no chance? Yeah, what about it? It's called the economy. It's called using migrants and immigrants to make a profit, because there's empty hotels that are owned by corporations who get money from private companies like Serco, who run all our state services. You know, the services that our taxes are meant to pay for, but they don't. And meanwhile, vast sums of money are spent supporting the genocide in Israel. We're paying for that. When people like Tommy Robinson and Keir Starmer and Nigel Farage get paid to promote it or call anyone that opposes it terrorists. And ReformUk, who you're such a fan of, is owned by a property developer who makes millions for his shareholders out of exploiting the property market. So let me know whose side you're really on, Mr. Wannabe Artist. You know, Nigel Farage comes from a wealthy background in finance. He's just as much of a con artist as Tommy, but here you are spamming him in the comments, along with your mate here, Stacey, who's made 12 comments. And no surprise here, she's Reform and MAGA. The same people saying the British public are not stupid. Yeah, you are. Because you know who funds ReformUk and MAGA? It's rich people. It's rich people who already have money and they don't know what to do with it. So they give it to Nigel Farage because they're racist. And they profit from exploitation of immigrants. And then he spends money on promoting content like this. You see how it works? While you're here telling us that the officers' disgusting comments about women were banter that you thought was hilarious coming from a female, lol. Are you sure about that? Has someone really hurt you? Because this is not how most women feel. What women like having their weight made fun of, or listening to a man talking about how he pleasures himself at work. And it doesn't make sense how you're supporting this police officer who's literally letting rapists out, but then you're calling out the BBC because this argument that the BBC need to investigate themselves because they've been shielding their own staff of predators for years is another one of the talking point. It doesn't mean that the police are not what they've shown them to be in this program. In fact, they're probably worse because they had to edit it and allow it to be shown. Like, how can you think what Jimmy Savile did was wrong, but then be okay with Tommy Robinson and Andrew Tate? Don't get it. And you say you want unbiased, but you're literally spamming Tommy Robinson in the comments. So what do you mean? Because you can't believe that Tommy Robinson is unbiased. Like, I know you're trolling, but other people might take this stuff seriously. Speaking of trolling, we have another account with an English flag who appears to be a fan of an actual troll who went to prison for it. Alex Belfield, pushing another lie that the police are coming for you at 2 a.m. for posting on X or Facebook. The level of evidence they must have had to get him locked away for that must have been beyond. But it's another popular bit of misinformation that trolls are pushing that you can get locked up for tweeting. Alex Belfield stalked and harassed actual people and threatened to harm them. In reality, posting that you support Palestine or are against what Israel is doing to Palestine can get you labelled as a terrorist. Supporting peace is not a threat to harm. For weeks now, the Met Police have been arresting thousands of pensioners and disabled people in support of Palestine, and they had to let them go because they weren't committing any offences. For sitting down at a protest, there was no evidence of them actually being terrorists. So you could just watch the live footage of that and that would tell you everything you need to know about who the police are as an operation. Just carrying out orders like the Gestapo did in World War II. But this is 2025. I think the police have always acted like that and they always will act like that, and so will any corporation that works with vulnerable people for profit. I was at the Sarah Everard vigil in 2021 because it happened near where I live, and I saw firsthand how the police surrounded a peaceful and socially distanced group of mainly women while they tried to make sense of what had just happened after one of them had forced her into his car, raped her, killed her, and driven her to Kent, when he'd literally been reported the night before for exposing himself at a drive-through McDonald's. They thought it was a good idea to move in and start throwing women down to the ground and arresting them because of COVID regulations. On the orders of a woman, Priti Patel, the Home Secretary. And the next day on Twitter, people were trying to tell me that it was putting public health at risk. But when only days later, the Queen's husband died, who was a known racist himself, and everyone was allowed to go and pay their respects like we never had social distancing. And then there was the football matches that were allowed. That was when I realised this must be what fascism is like, you know, like what you see on documentaries or what you're taught in history. That's why people are shocked by what they've seen in the Panorama programme, because so much money is spent on keeping this information from us. And the comment section is part of the propaganda. Banter is bullying. Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage care as much about women as the police do. They don't care about disabled people. This is just another form of eugenics. They only care about themselves, but knock yourself out.
And she's woken up momentarily with someone holding her and then passed out again. Yeah. That's all she's got. Yeah. Well, she does give them some description, hasn't she?
Yeah, but that's of one. She's been unconscious.
Maybe one of them might be orange with green hair, obviously.
Yeah. And then Palumpa.
Yeah. Alright.
Slightly taller though.
Oh,